Hi there, Planet Hoppers! Misso Plays back, and this week I'm going to give you all a tour of that beachside resort you might have seen a little bit from in the tutorial I posted a couple of weeks ago. And the location that I chose for this miniature paradiso was Codos, which is one of the moons of Aquila in the Cheyenne system. It's got everything you need for a tropical retreat. We've got swimmable water, palm trees, breathable air, and the sky at night is absolutely breathtaking. And if you're going to be in a tropical paradise, nobody wants to be stuck inside all the time. So the main focus for this particular outpost was trying to come up with ways to create some outdoor living spaces. And that was a really satisfying creative challenge because, as you know, our bill menu as it stands today doesn't really have a lot or any outdoor structures that we can build for our crews to use. But what it does give us is some really cool rugs and furniture that we can use to build our own. So before I offer you this once-in-a-lifetime timeshare opportunity, let's have a look and see what kind of amenities you can expect here on Codos. And let's make this tour go from least swanky to most swanky, so it just gets more exciting. And we're going to start out with that ship services, which is actually built onto the landing pad using a technique that Mills Builds showed in one of his Outpost videos. We got one of those cruise stations, pretty much like all the other cruise stations. It's been a while since I built a med bay in any of my outposts, but it felt irresponsible to not have one on this action-packed vacation resort. We got some medical supplies there acquired through piracy because you can get some cool looking crates just by stealing from your fellow spaces. Here's our ship service technician desk, which is still looking pretty stylish because I don't know if you've noticed when you're going around different settlements, but the nicer the ship services area, the nicer the place you're going to visit tends to be. Like if it's really run down, the best you're going to get is chunk in a package. If it's really fancy, you're going to get chunks out of a package. You can really tell the quality of a civilization by its ship services desk. And the message I wanted to send with this one is, yes, we're in Freestar Collective space, but everyone staying here is from New Atlantis. Even the waiting room is big and plush. Those couches definitely put those foxbats onto the endangered species list. We've got a little Terra Brew vending machine, so we've got the good stuff for people waiting. Built that using some shelves, a poster, and backpack stands. And it's even recognized for fanciness by Hope Tech, who's given us that beautiful award for the nicest ship services in the settled systems. If you saw the last video, then you saw me building this half floor, which is turned into our command center. We got some state-of-the-art monitoring stations, navigation table, everything so we know who's here, when they're here, why they're here, and should they be here. And chances are the people who will be visiting here are probably pretty demanding. So we have this little break room tucked away to the side. It's got a refreshment center, like all of my outposts do, and it's a little bit snug perhaps, but the most important thing is it is away from any visitors or clients that might be visiting because they're probably going to be unreasonable, and if you want to eat in peace, you're going to have to do it hidden. So that is what this little break room is for, and that is the working hub of this outpost. So let's take a look at the first tier of accommodations you could expect to find here on our Codos resort. For my Fallout friends, please enjoy this comforting sound of the Geiger counter as we step outside, because during the daytime, the radiation on this moon is pretty high. So anyone coming here is going to want to pack that good sunscreen first. Here is the ship services building from the outside, trying to stay with that tropical vacation paradise look, even with these industrial habs. The planter is put on the outside of the building there, using the same technique that I showed in the Greebles and Wall Cabinet tutorial. So you can actually use that to decorate the outside of your buildings as well as the inn. Now let's take a really safe stroll across this landing pad, because what's the worst that could happen there? And take a look at those first tier accommodations. These are kind of the usual deal we found in the settled systems, not a great deal of privacy, it's more of a communal quarters situation. But I built this for travelers on a budget or people who are just stopping over, maybe for work, as they're passing on to other planets and systems. And here I made like a room divider out of these planters and pillars. It's not the usual full wall that I try to do. It's quite open, but it does divide the space up pretty nicely. We got a small kitchenette that people can use, which even though it's not particularly fancy. It does have a great view of one of those lakes off to the side. And then over here we've got 3 desks with some monitors, because let's face it, in this vision of the future, people seem to be particularly industrious, even on vacation or maybe on a layover, might still want to be getting some work done or might have to get some work done. And that way, even those shackled by their offices can still come out here and enjoy some of this beautiful radioactive sunshine. And for those who really want to do some swimming and adventuring but do not have private suite money, we do have these hostel accommodations. It's got a little kitchenette with a few food items that you can cook for yourself. Little dining area again with a fantastic view, and then we've got these 4 beds with room for personal items. And yeah, it does seem like the guy over on the left is maybe a bit sketchy. He's got a lot of drugs on that table, so who knows who you're going to be sharing with. But at the end of the day, on a planet like this, like I said before, you don't want to be inside, you want to be outside. So you're just sleeping here, and I'm sure the Aurora Fiend is fine. And then the little bathroom over here, make sure that everyone really does have everything they need, even in the budget suites. And I recognize you did not come here to check out another one of my communal living spaces. You came for the Tropical Beach Resort. So let's walk on down this path and check out that resort proper. And this is where that outdoor living space building really starts to kick in. On the left over there, we have a pavilion that makes up our outdoor bar. And then over on the right, we got a little sheltered deck chair station. We can enjoy the sand and the beach without getting evaporated by that death laser sun. It's looking a little shady right now. It does get some sun later on in the day, and the colors there really pop when it does. And since I was taking a lot of inspiration for this particular outpost from Paradiso, I really wanted to build one of these outdoor pavilion bars like they have over there. You can see I made this by floating these rugs and then using coffee tables to create the pillars, and finishing it off with these cabinets to create the bar. And I'll have a tutorial on how to build this structure in an upcoming video. As I mentioned before, my girl is from Neon, so are these drinks. And I chose these, especially the Velocity, which is those cube ones, because one, they look great during the day, but they also add light and interest to this area at night. That ended up being a big consideration when I was building this outpost. We don't have a lot of lighting options, so when it gets dark, it's really easy for these outdoor spaces to lose that sense of life. So I used a lot of glowing items and things that emit light to really keep that sense of activity going even when the sun goes down, and we'll see more of that in a little bit. And if you're enjoying the outdoors, you're enjoying the outdoors. We don't need to have some kind of building to house every area. It can just be like this little ping pong table which is sitting out here on the sand. So let's go check in and see what's happening inside, starting off with this reception desk area. And here I've been using more of those cabinets to create kind of a recessed area to fit in that couch. And then using some of those coffee tables stacked up to create sort of a mid-century modern looking wall back there. Because when you go to locations like Paradiso, things like these reception areas tend to be a lot more big and spacious. We've got less little tiny desks and more big, impressive looking architecture and furniture. So I went with this kind of upscale looking table, orienting it horizontally to create my 2 reception stations. And I think that kind of moves it more into the luxury setting and a little bit less like a corporate office. And I really like these 2 lightwood tables. Having the high one and the low one is absolutely perfect for a room like this. Of course, once you're all checked in, the first thing you're going to want to do is check out some of the resort's amenities. So let's come on through to our guest lounge area. And this is in that 2-story carpeted hab that we built in the tutorial video the other week, which is now all kitted out with this library and reading area. We got some comfy couches and then these futons up there on the cabinets where you can kick back with a book whilst overlooking the view of the big lake we built by. There's another guest bathroom, this time a little more airy and upscale looking than the last, since this is in the main resort area. And yes, it's another walkway bathroom, but I felt like the bright lights and planters made it look a little more upscale than some of the other ones I've built in the past. And straight ahead, we got these shelves, which I have stocked with some board games, card games, toys, videos, whatever your idea of fun is, we've got something for you here at our Codos retreat. I wanted to build a really big fancy restaurant at this outpost, but started running out of build budget, so I needed somewhere to squeeze in a place where everyone could eat. And the result is this self-catering kitchen. It's still got some pretty nice architectural details like those pillars and these wall cabinets that are nicely stocked up. some fresh fruit and vegetables, and of course a toast station. I realized it's been a while since I last built one of these, and it's still one of my favorite things to build in a kitchen. So we got that toast and a little coffee station down here with Terra Brew coffee, the good stuff, nothing synthetic here. For the stuffier clientele, there's always the option to order room service, or you can order some food to be served out here on our beautiful lakeside Skybridge. And out here you can eat under the stars or in the sunshine. Got the best view on Codos. Look at those mountains over that beautiful blue lake. We got some fancy drinks and canapes being enjoyed over there on the table, and a nice view of the rest of the resort too, including this decking that we're going to go check out in just a moment. And an attractive little cocktail bar up here, since those seem to be pretty ubiquitous in all the fancy resorts we find throughout the game. Ours will be no different. Also notice one of those velocity bottles over there to add another bit of illumination and interest at night to this space, which is attached to one of our private suites that I mentioned earlier in the video. So let's come on inside and see what these suites might look like. I've been using these cabinets once again to try give the room a bit of a different shape. We kind of get bored of all of those square habs that we always have, so I've been using these to create recesses, like this little tea area with a view over here. And in this one, I merged some rugs over the top of some planters and then added in some statues in an attempt to recreate some of those artsy installations that we see in a lot of the buildings, especially around places like New Atlantis. And another installation over here in the corner with that cluster of meteorite pedestals in the lounge area. So that takes us out of our first private suite. So let's leave this part of the building and see what else we have to explore. Let's spin around and come on over to this lakeside decking that I was able to build over here. Now this deck is made out of some of those wooden dining tables that I was able to sink into the landscape using some rugs. And I'll show you guys how to do that too in a future video. We have this pair of sun lounges over here, which I built out of some futons and wooden coffee tables, and a little deck chair area just sitting out on top of the water. And I gotta say, these sun lounges are one of the things I'm really happy with in this Outpost, and I'm kind of excited to see what other items of furniture I can put underneath those futons, maybe open up some new bedding options going forward. Now let's take a look at another set of decking. This one is a private pavilion that is attached to my master suite. Or should I say my captain suite, because this is where I intend to be living when staying in Codos. We've got a nice half floor over there raised up, which is another decking made out of those tables. Some more of those floating rugs and pillars, and a nice little area that's kind of off to the side and out of the way of everybody else for the people staying in our top tier accommodations, which as we go inside you will see is pretty sweet. We got some more of those cabinets breaking up the room to make some interesting shapes, and some more of those pillars too. Now I built these using some of those decorative pedestals, and before I kept trying to avoid the square ones. It felt like it would be harder to line up, but I actually found them easier to line up than the round ones, so that's my new favorite one going forward. My captain, just like me, is a big tea drinker, so she's got this nice tea station over there with some fresh fruit. And then over here on this dining bar, I used some of those circuit boards that you might be finding in your travels as coasters for my drinks. It's kind of like a more upscale version of the folder trick that I showed in my Hyla 2 Outpost. And then over in the sleeping area, I got some slippers underneath those nightstands for our guests to use. And then this really nice little nook with these horn-shaped ornaments over there where you get a great view of the, I guess, planet rise on the horizon. And as the room rate prices go up, so does the niceness of the bathrooms. This one's a little bigger. We got a shower in this one, and I've been using these pictures as kind of like a tiled backsplash kind of thing to make it look a little bit more green and decorated. And I've also been using it to lower the sinks because I got really tired of all of the sinks being up in my armpits, and putting them on a poster, well, a picture first, helped me get things lower down. And there's more than one way to drain those fancy clients of their credits than just room rates. There's also Retail. So here we have our gift shop on Codos. Because maybe you want to bring back a souvenir, or maybe you need to buy some luxury goods for your stay here. This shop has you covered, and we do not have a rude sales clerk that will stop talking to you if you complain to their boss. We got those upscale magazines, resort wear, because maybe you just came in your regular spacesuit and you need something a little area to walk around in. And we have a wide selection of art you can take home as a souvenir. So when you're back in neon, stuck in your office, look at these beautiful objects and remember your time on Codos and how every paycheck brings you closer to coming back to us here on Codos. Even the sales desk is big and easy on the eyes. Got the computer system there to keep track of sales and inventory. If it's in the back, that computer will tell you. And a copy of that peak performance party recovery issue, because everybody gets to enjoy this resort, even our staff. Over to the side on this illuminated display stand, let your eye be drawn to our wide selection of high-end cosmetics and sunscreens, before casting a gaze over on the rarest vacation item in the Settle Systems, the swimsuit. They are difficult to come by, but come by them you can, here at our glamorous Moon Boutique. And I ended up putting a lot of focus again on those rugs and architectural details to really make the Moon Boutique look glamorous, taking some inspiration from places like EIT Clothiers in New Atlantis, as well as, of course, Paradiso. Now, with that said, our sun is being screened, our suit is ready for swimming, we've already checked into our suite, maybe we've grabbed a snack, so let's take everything we've picked up so far and go check out our waterside attractions. These round rugs give us a modern and avant-garde path to our beach, which is here on the shoreline of this spectacular lake. The waters are so clean and blue, they are swimmable, not poison like every other outpost I've built so far, and we have a few little deck chair areas set out all the way along the edge. If you don't want to be outside for a little bit, you can come on into one of these beachside cabanas, which I have built inside these greenhouses. This one has a sitar, so you can play some music and impress your date, and some blue furniture with some wood accents to kind of pull it in together with the native plants that we've got growing in there. And then of course we have these deck chairs all set out with their little beach towels over here on the sands, some cocktails on the tables beside them, and then those beautiful meteorite rocks studded all along in the background. And I like those because of the blue and purple, but they also have another secret that we're going to see a little bit more of in just a second. This lounge area is the epitome of my job is beach. We've got the little towel up there for toweling off as you come out of the lake, more sunscreen to reapply if it washed off in the water. And then over here, some fresh fruit and a Velocity cocktail sitting by this beautiful sun lounger under its own private pavilion. I'm getting a good close-up look at some of those meteorite rocks with their vaporwave pastel colors. They look really, really good during the day, and they actually look even better at night, as we're going to see in a little bit, because the sun does appear to be setting. I embedded some rocks into the sand to create this rock bordered path that's going to lead us on to this private lagoon. And whilst the big lake was what drew me to the area, this little lake was the thing that really sold me on it, because we got this sand around the outside and then those big palm trees, and it made for a really cool personal oasis for my wee captain out here. So then by the lake I built this terrace pavilion here with the outdoor kitchen. We've got the little table there with some cocktails and snacks, and then it all goes out to another one of those decks, and on top of that we got the sun lounger again and some towels and sunscreen. I used the rocks embedded into the sand, kind of like I did on the footpath, to hold up those rugs to give them a bit more of a structural feel to it. Oh yeah, and over here there's this one thing. It started off as an oh shit moment, but it ended up being an aha, this is a great moment. That fire there was one of those caustic gas vents that popped up. I put down one of the floor mats to try and get rid of it completely. Left the fire, but it took away the poison, and that's pretty much the best thing I could have asked to have happened. I don't know if it will always work that way, but it did in this particular instance. And yeah, now I've got this great bonfire right next to my tropical paradise. Pretty cool. And this is another one of those beachside pavilions. I put this one here primarily to obstruct the view of the landing pad, since it was kind of killing the vibe. But beyond hiding the landing pad, it makes a really nice interior next to that swimming pool, and it gave me the opportunity to build this little changing area back here, which has got the sink and some towels to get all cleaned up in after you've been swimming. or just a spot where you can get changed into your swimsuit before you go swimming. We're firmly in golden hour now as we leave that cabana. So let's swim on past this lake and check out those meteorite rocks that I was talking about earlier. Because I did not realize that they did this until I was building, but they actually glow at night, making them a perfect ambient light source for this outpost. If you remember earlier on, I was talking about how the outside spaces start looking kind of sad once the sun went down, but you can see how those rock pedestals and the velocity drinks really help bring some glow and interest to the area, even when it's getting kind of dark and desolate looking otherwise. I think this is the most new things I have tried in a single outpost yet, so I really hope you've enjoyed this tour and had some ideas that you might want to use for your own outpost builds going forward. Obviously, building a lot of my own structures really ate into that build budget, so it's maybe not as large as some of my other outposts, but I think it's the one that I'm the most proud of so far and probably the one I enjoy spending time in the most. And once again, if you found anything in this video in any way useful or entertaining, please drop me a like and subscribe, and I'll be back hopefully next week with more building tips and outpost tours. Till then, bye!